Alright guys, this is Black Dragon doing your replay analysis, and today we do have a good one. This is from the Team Story Cup. It'll be a Protoss versus Protoss on Belshare Beach, the oh-so-popular map. And over here in the top left, in the green, we do have Vipro, and down here in the bottom right in the red, we have Millennium's Feast. Play out with a new Protoss versus Protoss in the expansion. No really new early game units other than that mothership core, which I have to think will make a pretty big influence on the normal 4-gate play and 3-gate openers. The whole kind of play around Protoss versus Protoss and Wings of Liberty was around the 4-gate. You had to account for it, you had to execute it, or defend it. The whole kind of builds kind of just revolved around that. With this new mothership core, you have to think that Protoss won't have to be nearly as aggressive. You'll see nearly identical builds at the moment. And I think the crux behind the whole thing is that Protoss can just chrono boost probes out so easily, so there's no real need to start that early expansion as you would, like, let's say in a Zerg versus Zerg, where that extra hatchery is so important for the larva. Even off of one Nexus, you can chrono out probes extremely efficiently, all the while still producing units. And we do have identical builds so far at the moment. It'll be interesting to see when we have some deviation. As far as late game compositions, I want to see more and more Protoss kind of extend out past the mid game to get into some possible air compositions, or we go Templar Tech, Colossus possibly. I have to think that Colossus is really going to fall out of favor. It was a normal kind of late game choice. With this very powerful new Sky Toss, though, I don't know if that's going to be seen as much. Given that you have Phoenix for map control and the so strong Tempest with that range, forced lots of bad engagements. And we still have identical builds out from our players. Alright, both players electing to go double gas. What has to lead me to believe it's some type of tech play. We have Cybernetics core with finally some deviation. We do have from Millennium electing to go the mothership core very, very early, and Stalker as well. Over here in the top, though, we do have the Warp Gate research started and the Sentry as well, leading possibly towards some defensive type of fast expand. You don't typically grab Sentries if you're going to go aggressive, because you want to use that gas towards more mobile offensive units. Mothership core coming out as well, so maybe a slight deviation in the build, but we do have the same generic kind of builds, the exception being this one Sentry. And we do have the double Stalker out. I'd like to think that Millennium's going to try to be very aggressive here, having another Stalker being chronoed out as well. So we have two Stalkers, Zealot and the Mothership core against one Stalker, one Sentry, Mothership core. And there's a fast expansion down as well. May not work out so well for our Protoss green player because we don't have an expansion yet, and yes, we do have additional gateways coming out as well. Have to think this is going to be a 4-gate, 3-gate expansion, something like that. Mothership core going to come in, get some nice, priceless scouting information. Still no expansion from Feast. I think he's electing to keep it somewhat conservative. Counter that possible aggressive play. If he did see this expansion, though, he could go ahead and push the accelerator down and go. But no, it will drop his Nexus as well. You'll see that this one was dropped considerably earlier. He'll have to maybe do some damage, force some warp ends of some expensive units. No, instead electing to go for the possible cancel. We do have two Sentries coming up. They're going to be able to force for the loss. Zealot does get up, but unfortunately, he has to kite backwards. There's a Mothership core coming in as well. Oh no, he'll lose vision on the high ground, but is able to kill one of the Sentries. That's a lot of gas loss in this early game. Mothership core coming in to do some damage. Is taking a lot of hits, though. To have the Stargate coming out of Feast as well. Don't know if he can do enough damage to force his cancel or anything. No, just get the Nexus down. Vipro will be moving out fairly soon to counter this. Has the infrastructure and the units as well. You know, I want to say this was actually very effective. He forced in a lot of warp ins that were probably unnecessary. Had to get an observer. Had to go 2 Sentries, lost one earlier, so 3 Sentries total, 2 Stalkers. It's a lot of gas having to be spent. Meanwhile, We're able to have the other Nexus down finally. Go over to the income tab. We do have nearly identical worker production. Maybe slipped on the macro a little bit. Vipro was unable to really keep up that chrono that he wanted on the Nexus. One of the advantages of being aggressive in the early game, you can force your opponent to warp in those very expensive units. We do have the Stargate completed as well, going for the very new unit, the Oracles. It's able to do so much damage to mineral lines if unchecked, especially when nearing full energy. And we do have complete map control by Feast. Stalkers will be seen here at the front ramp. And we do with the counter position, we do have a hallucinated Phoenix coming in. He has to know that there's no real possible chance of any Stargate play, so he's got to know that's hallucination. Nothing to even worry about, really. And if he can force in even more weapons to Stalkers right now, that'd be huge in terms of tech. Here comes the Oracle. We'll take out 1, 2, 3, 4 possible probes. That's huge. 5. And will drop. Not a bad trade at all. Is able to take out 4 workers, solidifying his lead. Going over to production, we have Blink, Stalker, Technology started as well, and that's awesome because the opponent's not going to, Vipro's not going to be able to counter that, really. He's lacking in gas right now. Just now starting the Twilight Council. Alright, gotta think he's working towards some huge timing push coming up soon. A Blink Stalker +1, or probably +2 by the time Blink's on would be huge. Over here at the front, all we have are 2 sentries, 3 Stalkers. Going over to Army, we do have, both have 4 Stalkers, 47, 44 probes. We do have the 2 Mothership cores as well. But in terms of upgrades, we do already have +1 finished. We have Blink and +2 well on the way. You gotta think he's gonna hit with a 2 Blink Stalker attacks. Gonna be devastating over here. Already setting up for that aggression. Getting the proxy pylon and starting the 3rd as well. Have to really feel like Feast is really commanding this game. He's been aggressive from the very beginning. He's dictating unit production. He's getting harassment out. He's not going all in. He's getting infrastructure, getting upgrades. He's very solid tactics right here. Special tactics, but not tactics, but not special tactics. Alright, down in the low ground, we do have these very nice hallucinated phoenixes coming in. This whole thing is going to be seen, though, by the observer. Unfortunately, he's able to get picked up pretty quickly. He does possibly get out some pretty good information. He did see the infrastructure, which is good to see the Twilight now down. To see the robotics facility, however, as well. Which you have to wonder, what is he really using that for? Has to get some maybe immortal production to slow down these Stalkers, but Blink going to be coming in very soon. He is able to pick that up, though, with a nice scouting. Mothership core gives vision, though. Blink comes up. He's going to take out some of these high damage units. Possibly the Mortals up 2 coming out now. He's going to have to recall that very quickly. 3rd base out, nearly completion. We do have the 3rd already down by Millennium. You know, this is going to be a very mobile-intense game. Got to think the... You have to think that even with those seeing those 2 Immortals come in, that was almost a necessary construction. So his tech's going to be even further delayed. Knowing this, he can go into further upgrades and just kind of build on that lead he already has and try to hit an even harder timing later on whenever +3 finishes. Feast, though, just kind of playing passive right here. Not wanting to give too much away. Gonna have to try to be more mobile on the map. Or he can transition to some type of other tech. But I have to think with, +3 being started now, he's going to want to keep being aggressive with these Blink Stalkers. He has the ability to engage, disengage. If he has recall up on the Mothership core, it just makes it even more impressive because he can come up on these places. Trying to get some more scouting information. We do have the Templar tech coming out from Vipro as well. Getting these nice Archons out as well. See the Archon, I got to think Charge Lot, Immortal, Sentry Army. Very strong. He's going to have to play defensive, whereas... we do have Feast in a very offensive position. He has map control. He has vision. Here comes a nice move out, though. It's almost gonna be played out like a Terran versus Toss at this point, from the standpoint of the Blink Stalkers, because he's got the mobility. He's able to hit and run. has a lot of mobility, doesn't really want to engage this army head on. It does have a lot of burst potential. If you can catch him out in mid-map though and just constantly warp in, Vipro can't replenish his army as fast as Feast can with the warpins at the direct stalkers that are upgraded. He's got to warp in zealots, warp in stalkers, warp in sentries, has to get the constant immortal production. That just takes time and resources. All right, we have nice warping coming up here on the high ground. We have the tons of Templars being warped in for the Archon production, but we do have the scout pick up here, nice from the Void Prism. Over here at the third, huge contestment going on. We have a nice amount of zealots, so they're going to be able to soak up lots of damage. We have his own immortal production as well. Nearly identical army compositions. Got to think they've been taking notes from each other possibly, or trying to study that new meta. But, you know, other than the Mothership Core, this composition fairly similar for Wings of Liberty. He comes into huge engagement. Time Warp going down. Very nice Time Warp. Able to soak up lots of damage. Slow down that DPS. Archon's doing tons of damage. Charge lots, trading damage back and forth. Archon's wisely being focus fired. The Mothership Core almost down, but no. Oh, Mothership Core does fall for Feast. Don't know if he has enough defense up here. Immortal here on the high ground, able to do some damage, but here come in the charge lots, able to take that out, doing extra damage to the armor, being pushed back in a very defensive position. Warpins coming in as well. We do have a pylon over here, able to bring in some more charge lot, Archon, Sentry, Stalker. Damage going out everywhere. He's forced to pull back with the Planetary Nexus over here, doing some very nice damage. Don't know if he wants to keep putting on this aggression. He is slightly behind resources, can't warp in as fast, but here comes the Observer as well. Immortal here in a very nice position, but he's able to drop very fast to his own Immortal of his own. And here comes the very nice warpins over here on the low ground as well. Able to warp in here, do some damage possibly. Clear up these Archons, but we do have lots of income lost. Going over, we have 66 by Vipro, nearly a 13 probe lead. Very nice. And Vipro continuing that Archon composition working out so well for him. And now what is a Protoss player to do but copy his opponent's composition to force the ever more ambiguous game of Protoss versus Protoss. You notice how the ground weapons level 3 done, level 2 over here, but he has a supply deficit unfortunately, so he can't really capitalize on it. Not a good position right now. Or Feast, unable to capitalize on that slight economic advantage. A little too much harass maybe. He just doesn't have the units nor the composition to really challenge Vipro right now. And over here taking his fourth as well. But we do have Feast trying to deny that with these charge lots. Moving the army out of position. That does give him some room to maybe remass up on his army. But can't do enough damage. Does do some nice infrastructure though. And that's going to make this a very low nexus to possibly be able to snipe later on. Over here in the bottom we do have some nice charge lots coming in, but Vipro is a very nice defensive warp-in, able to clean it up fairly easily. Almost 80 probes in production. God, I think that's almost too much by Vipro. You have the Warp Prism coming in, able to keep it alive. Very nice. Can warp in some charge lots maybe, but it is seen the entire time. You would like to think, you know, there's a place he can warp in maybe, but that's the good thing about this fourth is it even gives vision. You can't really warp in anywhere. You want to warp and then move in almost, but once the Warp Prism's seen, he's already going to start moving down, as he did. He's starting his own fourth, taking out some proxy pylons, but he has a huge supply deficit at this point. Losing those early engagements is really hurting him right now. Nearly a 50 supply deficit. Can't force any engagements anywhere. Going over to upgrades as well. We did level 3 done. Charge lots. Level 3 only, but we do have the Psionic Storm from Feast, which I don't know if he's been able to use yet. He's trying to maybe keep some High Templars up. Haven't seen it yet though. Alright, some nice charge lot warping over here, do some damage. Able to clean it up though with the warping of his own, and, you know, trying to maintain that production, just can't do it. He's closing the distance on probes. Unfortunately, I feel like the mining damage, so to speak, has already been done. And now you see the robotics bay out by Vipro, so he's gonna have that advantage, able to move in that Colossus production is gonna give him the huge edge over any ground army. And we do have Vipro moving up over here to check this fourth. He's gonna find it, can go in and maybe possibly even snipe it. We do have the multiple harass going on here, picking things up, dropping them off. Charge lots going around, trying to do work, doing damage, dancing around, taking all these probes. Defensive warping coming in, though, able to clean it up. But no, there's two. Zealots to one is not going to work. Charge reinitiating. But nicely placed photon cannon able to clean it up. We do have the fourth, though, falling. So very good trade. At the same time, unable to do too much damage. We do have a Dark Shrine coming in as well to do some more multi-prong harass. Not enough drones or probes taken out because we have 4 bases, 4 chrono boosters able to all put out probes of their own. We do have the Doom Army enclosing nearly a 40 supply advantage, barring a bad engagement. He's going to be able to come in. We have the first Colossus out, though. He can use this to his advantage, possibly. Thermal Igniter's not done yet, though, so he doesn't have the range increase, but that Colossus is being very well shielded out of some Archons and Blinkstalkers, has to pull back, able to pull off some very nice, but he loses his third, even if he wins his engagement. You gotta think he's so behind 4 bases at 2, just pulling a warp in of his own, able to maybe take out this thing, and there's a good game by Feast. And Vipro will move on in this